So today I'm going to be showing you how to make these super adorable little knit scrunchies. They are super easy to make. There is no sewing involved, and they are knitted partly in the round and partly on straight needles. So you're going to be needing circular needles or double pointed needles to make this. Also, they are super size adjustable. So you can make them for thicker hair or thinner hair or whatever you need. And also, you're not going to be needing a little elastic for these. However, if you have these laying around and you want to use them, there is a super easy way to add them in. You're also going to need scissors and then a darning needle just to sew in your end at the very end of the project. And then this isn't completely necessary, but I like to use a crochet hook to pick up my stitches because I think it's easier that way. But if you want to pick up your stitches just with the knitting needles, that is totally fine. I would recommend using a worsted weight yarn in anything except for cotton, because I tried to make one with cotton yarn and there's no stretch whatsoever with 100% cotton yarn. So I would recommend anything that isn't cotton, and then just like a 4 weight, like a worsted weight or below, because I think if you were to make it with bulky weight, it would just be too thick. So to start, I'm just going to cast on 12 stitches, and I'm not casting them on too tightly because we're going to be working in these later. Alright, so that's my 12 stitches, and then I'm going to just turn the work, and I'm going to knit a row. And we are going to be working in garter stitch. So for garter stitch, you're just going to knit every single row, back and forth, back and forth. So just turn and knit. So I've just continued knitting in garter stitch. Mine has about 23 of these little garter stitch ridges, and that's about the length that I need it to fit around my wrist without being too tight. And you might need to adjust it for how thick your hair is, but I'm going to show you how to do this next step, and at that point afterwards you can try it on and see if it is the right tension for your hair. So now we're going to be joining to our cast on edge and binding off these stitches. So you're going to just want to go into our first little cast on edge there. So with your right needle, go through there, and then we are going to go through our first stitch on the needle, right through there. And we are going to knit through both of those stitches. Then head and pull it through your cast on edge. And then we're going to go into there with our right needle again into the next little cast on edge hole through the next stitch, and we're going to knit through that next stitch and through the cast on edge. And now we are going to take this first one and put it over the second one to bind off. So again, with the right hand needle into the cast on edge, through the next stitch, knit through both of them, and then pull that first stitch over the second one to bind off. Alright, I just got done casting off all those stitches and I'm at the end now, so I'm going to pull this out just so it comes undone, or it doesn't come undone. And this is what it looks like. Doesn't have to be perfect. And now what we're going to do is we're going to fold this loop in half. So we just folded it in half like that with the little seam on the inside. And at this point you can go ahead and try this on into your hair and see if it is the right tension for your hair. And if it is too tight or too loose, you're going to go ahead. This part is kind of annoying, but it's what you have to do to make sure it's the right size. And you can just go ahead and undo your little cast on, or the little seam you did here, and add a couple rows or undo a couple rows, and then redo that so it's the right size. So once you have the right sizing for your scrunchie, what we're going to do is fold it in half again. Forgot to mention that if you would like to put the elastic in, you're going to put it into the center of where you just folded it, so like around where you folded the scrunchie in half. And this is the little loop from our last stitch, and this is when I like to use my crochet hook, and I'm going to just pull that loop through to the other side of here. So see how it's folded in half? That way it's just through both of those sides of the fabric. So now we are just going to go into this next little bit here and go through both pieces of the fabric just along the edge, and we are going to pull up that next stitch. There you go. Here's your second stitch. And I don't even like to count these when I'm doing it. I just like to put them pretty close together, like that. Then I'm going into the next one. Just make sure you're going through both the pieces of the fabric. Once you get like this amount of loops on your crochet hook, you're going to want to just take your knitting needle and transfer them onto the knitting needle. And then you can just pull that around with your and you can just continue with the crochet hook. Alright, I'm now back where I started, and I picked up my stitches all the way around, and now we're going to start working in the round with magic loop. So the way you do that is just pull it out like this, and then push the left hand needle in, and the right hand needle is going to be the one you're working with. And we are going to increase all the way around, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to knit front and back. And if you've never knitted front and back, basically you're going to go to knit normally, knit, pull it up, leave this stitch on the left hand needle, go around into it, wrap around, pull it through, and that's all how you do knit front and back. So in normally, wrap around, pull it through, leave this on the hook or on the needle, go in through towards the back, wrap around, pull it through, and drop it. Alright, I'm now back to the beginning of my round. Just pull my magic loop like that, turn it around again, and we increase every stitch around. Again, we're not counting any stitches. The number of stitches is not important. Now for the next round, we are going to do the exact same thing, and we're going to just knit front and back in every single stitch around. Alright, so I just completed my second round of increases. You can see I have a whole ton of stitches on my needles now, and again, I'm not going to bother counting them because it doesn't matter, because all these stitches are going to become those beautiful ruffles on your scrunchie. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just knit around 3 times normally. This first round will still be a little tight, but you'll see by the second and third round, it'll be much easier to get your needle into them. Alright, so this is after my 3 rows of non-increase rows, just knitting around plain, and you can see these little bubbles now, and those are what are going to become our ruffles. So now either you can continue knitting around if you want it to be a little bigger, like the ruffles to be a little longer, or we're going to cast off. So we're just going to do a normal cast off. Knit 1, doesn't have to be a stretchy cast off. Knit 2, and pull it over the first one. And as you cast off, you can see those beautiful ruffles starting to form. Now I just have to cut my yarn. I'm going to pull out this loop, and we're just going to attach it to the beginning of our cast off edge. Now, we have a little hole here from where we connected in the round, and so if you want, you can just pull those stitches tight by pulling them into the next stitch to even it out. Alright, and that is your entire scrunchie. It is finished. Look at how cute your ruffles look. This is the 3rd one that I've made of this style. They are just so fluffy and nice. Alright, and that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and let me know what other kind of tutorials or yarny videos you would like to see next. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon.